If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. And if you want to be happy, practice compassion. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmaster and dear guest. Simple yet profound words from the man of compassion himself, Dalai Lama. Don't you think so? When was the last time your ear and heart connected to someone's sad story? When was the last time you felt the urge to share your food with someone less fortunate? I vividly remember an incident that happened in my childhood. It was a Sunday afternoon. My father, mother, 5-year-old brother and I were out after attending the morning mass at the Sacred Heart Cathedral, New Delhi. After making through the busy crowd, we managed to reach a restaurant, only to be swarmed by a group of 4 children. They were hardly 5, with unkempt hair, ragged clothes, and an unbearable stench emanating from them. I could see their tiny shoeless feet marching to cope with the burning mortar street, their tongue trying to moisten their parched lips, and their pale and weak face trying to put up a smile. I don't know how many of you know. It is difficult to smile with an empty stomach. Now the obvious reaction I thought my father would have is to shoo them away, as he was already tired and frustrated with the whole afternoon trip on a hot sunny day. On the contrary, my father put his hand on one of the child and asked, "Are you hungry?" I was not able to comprehend this behavior, and I looked at my mother with many questions in my little eyes as my father went into the restaurant to buy some food for the poor children. With tears rolling down her eyes, one of the child took the food, held it close to her chest, and began to walk. She turned back and joined her hands to thank my father. My father's face lit up with joy and satisfaction. On our way back home, I was thinking to myself, why did we travel 50 kilometers just to give away the food to someone else? I turned to my mom and asked her, "Mom, we don't get to eat good food at home, and most of the time all we eat is yogurt and rice. After a long time, we decided to eat outside at Nirula's. But because of Dad's kindness, we end up eating in a shanty one." She smiled and said, "Dear, would you put yourself in those children's shoes and think for a second?" I realized they did not even have shoes. With his healing touch, his compassion, my father made them smile, at least for some time. Frank Tiger, a cartoonist, once said, "There is no greater loan than a sympathetic ear." That makes my mother a very big lender, as she has given away countless loans in her life. Gracie Joseph, my mother, is a loving and humble woman. I used to call her Mother Teresa, as she was full of grace, like her name, and compassion for people. She would have many of her friends coming home just to have chat with her. But those conversations were not about cooking or shopping. She would lend her ears to those grief-stricken people who came in with the pain and left with the pain half shared. Can you imagine a situation when you are down and broken, lost every pinch of hope in your life, and all you ever wished was someone who would just smile at you and ask, "How are you?" But there is no one to share your feelings, no one to listen to you. and all these problems, worries and tension are boiling inside you waiting to explode, would you walk up to a person who looks sad and ask him, how are you? According to a study by Dubai Police published in Emirates 24/7 website, there were 113 suicide cases in 2009, 110 in 2010, and 53 in 2011. Emotional problems, psychological problems, financial problems were the culprits behind this loss of human life. Don't you think these people would be still alive if there was someone who could speak a few words of compassion? According to the Qatar census taken in April 2010, there were 257,566 unmarried people, both men and women, in Qatar. And not all of them are living with a family here. Imagine the life of these people who live away from their family. Some of them may just need a help of few riyals. Someone who could just advise them. Someone who could lead them to an institution. Someone with whom they can share their feelings. When I see someone not so fortunate as me, I remember the act of compassion my father showed that day. When I see someone sitting lonely and sad, I remember my mother, who would sit and listen to the people for hours just to lessen their sorrows and burden. Compassion is a virtue that everyone can practice, because this is a healing trait inbuilt in us by the Almighty. Our daily life gives us ample opportunities to practice compassion, feeding the hungry, a comforting word, willingness to listen, or just assuring your loved ones that you care. And when I have this slight feeling that I have too many problems to spare time for someone else, I think of this meaningful song, which, if translated into English, would sound like, there is so much sorrow in this world, and compared to all that, mine is so little. When I look at someone in pain, I just forget mine. Dear Toastmasters, when you see someone in pain, just think of this song. हो दुनिया में कितना गम है, मेरा गम कितना कम है, लोगों का गम देखा तो मैं अपना गम भूल गया, दुनिया में कितना गम है।